Hey, this is Mac with PriceActionTradingSystem.com. This is Wednesday, November the 7th. This is our price action chart lesson for today. And I actually saw a bigger trend here. I think we have this channel going on right here, but I also believe that we had this tighter channel, kind of a minor trend within this bigger channel. And you can see we bounced down this channel line, had a overshoot of it, and then we came back and look, we bounced right off of it. So I feel pretty sure that was correct. And the way I found this line up here was I drew it off these lows first. Originally I drew this one down through here, and that kind of fit, but it just didn't feel right because prices weren't reacting off of that uh, properly. So even, you see this is happening here, but it just didn't feel right because we were bouncing all down through here. And so what I ended up doing was I drew this line right across those two lows. And you can see that, that's a perfect fit. And then I drug it up here to the top, and you can see, so that was where I was looking for prices to come back to. I was a little surprised that we sold off this early. But that's your break of this little channel here, and then we two legs or so up into a new high, and then it sold on off again. So this was a huge move. The market just didn't like the election results, I guess, because this is we were up here at 1430 or so, and the market went as low as 1384. Or actually, this is 1430 up here. I don't know what I said a minute ago. It seemed like I said 1330, but we were up here at 1430, and we sold off all the way to 1384 or so. So you got, that's 40 plus points, 45 points or so that we sell off right there, and that is huge. That is a massive sell off. And but hopefully you saw this channel, at least one, if not both. But I was looking at this one earlier, and the longer we kept going, it was obvious we were reacting to something down through here besides the EMA, because we weren't even getting back to the EMA. And so then I drew this little line off these lows and drug it up, and then it was pretty obvious what was going on. So I believe you had your bigger channel, and then you had a trend channel within that, more minor or shorter term. So let's back out and look at the trades. Lots of opportunities to enter on the way down. I'm going to try to back out as far as I can so everybody can see this. The market actually opened over in here, but they're just not really a good setup here. You could have entered short on either of these if you wanted to, but what made this one so nice was when these interacted together right here. You got kind of a double, what I call confluence, and it bounced there. And I really should have had this one drawn in green. I'm just really hesitant to mark these kind of trades, but that's why when I do, I usually put them in green. And I'll go ahead and make this one green. I did not take this trade. Be honest with you, I didn't take it either, but because it's just too dangerous to to be going long in a move like this. And you really, that's a pretty good move down, but it's nothing compared to what we ended up with today. I definitely wouldn't have taken this later in the day, like down here when we got this bounce. No way I would have taken that. I actually didn't start trading until right in here myself, so I wasn't here to take this one. But I do not believe I would have taken it as weak as that was coming down through there, because it's just too risky. If you get it right, it pays off well. But if you look what happened here and here and here. Actually, that one would have worked, and this one never really triggered. But I can just say when the market's trending strongly, don't counter trend trade. It's just not worth it. So, but anyway, I'll draw that one in green. If you saw that one, it's a bounce off the trend, the temporary trend channel, the bigger trend channel, what I would call the major one. And look how long we've been away from the EMA without touching it. It was time for a pullback. So if you did see that and you took it, it's an aggressive move, but it worked. And if you took it, good eye. There was actually another long right here. Notice we had all this congestion and we broke one tick lower, turned up. That's a reversal type bar. But we're so close to the EMA here and everything's been turning off that I wouldn't take that trade either. It's better to wait on a short, and you see we got one right here. That's right off that trend line that I showed you how to find. And prices moved down. Any runners would have been safe here because you wouldn't have gotten out till down here. And so no way to get back and get your break-even runners. So from that trade right there at 14, let's just call it 1406, you could have ridden that all the way down to right in here somewhere. That's that's the kind of trades we live for. And just about every one of these, your runners would have been safe. And I didn't take every one of these because I already had on and I added on in here. And so I didn't want to have too many loaded up getting this close down here in this little wedge because I was afraid it might bounce out of here and head to the other side. But we still followed the rules all the same. We finally got a break of the trend line, and we had two measured legs down to a new low, and then we rallied out of there. So everything still worked great. But this is kind of a breakout. If you notice these lows right across there, we broke below it. That's a breakout pullback short. So if you wanted to go short right there, you could. It's also, again, kind of coming off the EMA and the trend line. So that was about a valid trade. This one I did not like because it was, we got a bunch of overlapping bars. It did break out the top again, and it did come off the trend line, but by the time it did, it was way down here, and we had this little stem, so, there's a chance prices are going to bounce there, snap back, and they did. But now you got a little doji up here. You got a double top. It's right at the EMA, so now you're able to get short up here at the high end. That's worth taking. And you can see it broke just a little lower and it bounced again, and that's what you expect, and that's what it did all the way down, really. So the only ones you want to enter on are the ones that are at the pullback. And I circled this one again because it was at the EMA. I felt it was worth taking because now the market's really, really weak, and it's just steadily going lower. And here's a trap, and that's a nice bearish reversal type bar. You go short right there, another easy move down. And I didn't mark this one. There's two bars in a row. It did break higher first, but it didn't tick lower. And this was close enough here to where, and we bounced that we might be touching this line, and there's a chance we could bounce out of there. Let me see if that one would have worked. I don't even know if it would have worked or not. It's not a good setup. It's just not. 97 3/4, and you can see you would have got trapped there and had to ride this out. It would have eventually worked out, but that's the beauty of entering with the trend. You can be off a little on your timing and you don't get killed, but if you're off on your timing and you catch the low and it's going the other and it's coming this way, you see, prices never even got back close to that. Well, they got semi-close, but you never would have gotten a chance to get out of that if you tried to hold on. But here, by going short, it went against you a little bit, but you had a chance to still come back and make money, and that's the beauty of trading with the trend. So don't counter trend trade on days like this. But anyway, we got a new low. We got a couple of moves back. Notice how prices you got above the EMA a little bit there, but usually on a strong trend like that, when you pop up above the EMA, it's usually, and you get a setup, and you can see we had that little doji. It went higher first, and then it turned and closed on this low. So there's an entry right there. But the main reason is because you got all this overlap, and it's a breakout of that that failed and turned down, and you got plenty of room to scalp out. But when it came back and made a double top, and again, another little doji with a stem, that was a good place to go short, and boy, it was off to the races again. I didn't mark any entries any down through here because you're getting down here. Now you've had a trend line break. You've got one leg here, a little pullback, and another leg, and you're bouncing off this thing. Again, there was another long here, but you just can't take any longs on a day like today. Would have worked, but you can see the sell-off is not done yet. And you got another chance to enter right here. Actually, I meant to have this right there. because I don't really like entering short right there. Uh, I, I didn't enter until it pulled back and had this little trap right here and then went back down. So then you can enter, and it was off to the races again. And I believe your entry was 92 3/4. No, yeah, they came back and got the runners on that one. I was thinking runners survived there, but they didn't. Um, and it was that they did survive off of this one. That was the one they survived off of. They did not this one. Um, and it was off to the races again. But if you got in up here, you got to ride this all the way down to here. You might have thought about exiting right in here, and if you did, it wouldn't have been a bad idea because you see it bounced, and you don't know that it wouldn't go on up. The market was just weak, and so, but you got another chance to enter off that trap right there. And if you did enter below that bar, it's not a terrible trade because you got all this overlap, and it kind of is a failed break, and you see there's kind of a double top across there. So it is a failed break, but again, it ended as another overlapping bar, and you see what happened, it snapped back. So you're better off to wait and enter here, and then it was pretty fastly moving off again. That was a real quick scalp, even though they came back and got the runners rather quickly. Let me look at that again. I could have sworn the runners made it on that trade. Entry was, oh, they did make it. Entry was 92.75. It ran quickly to 91. So easily got out, and prices only came back to, no, I was right, they did get them. You see it came back right there. So unless you kept it a little bit above break even, you didn't survive that one. Okay. All right, I'm wrong. But anyway, the first opportunity you got to go long was when prices got back in the channel, pulled back and tested it right there to the tick and turned up. That was a great place to go long. And guess what? Runners were definitely safe on this trade, and you could have ridden this all the way to these highs or this high. Same thing right here. The entry, it was better to wait on this bar here because this is still not a really good kind of a reversal type bar. This one's got some green. It went one tick higher, so you could have gone long right there. Could have ridden this out of here. Your runners were safe until they came back and got them right here. And that's the thing about that shows you how efficient the market is. They don't give you many freebies. You have to be very good to get the freebies. So the most you would have got out of this one's 3 or 4 or 5 points on your runners. And when it broke higher here and fell and turned back down, that was your clue to exit because now you got a failed break outside of double top. It's a good chance that we may sell on off, but that's really the, and I wasn't sure, there was a break of the trend line right here, and then we had kind of a new high, but we had never got to this trend line yet, this this major trend line, and you can see it wasn't long till we worked our way up there, and there was, this was actually a one tick, let me show you this, you can't hardly see it, but there's a, this is a second entry long off this low, and no runners here, but you got a buy, bounces off the trend line, and I probably shouldn't have bought this one, and I may have should have marked it green because look at all those overlapping bars and the dojis, but we hadn't had any break of the trend line yet, and you can see it worked. This trade worked, and you would have gotten out, and you would have gotten out easily. I got out easily. I had to let it watch it here. Let me show you what it did. It went up, and I think my exit order was right here, and it got one tick of it, and then it sold off and closed, but it never could go lower. And as soon as this bar opened, it raced straight up, and so it didn't take but a minute, and then I was out with my runners, but it quickly came back, or out with my scalp, but it quickly came back and got my runners. I entered again here. Again, I held runners. Easy, quick scalp, but they just as quick came back and got the runners. And now it's obvious we're kind of in this trading range, but we failed out this high, and I probably should have exited right there or even reversed and ridden this down. But then we went into this overlap, we made a double bottom. We kind of broke below those little matching lows and made that double bottom, and you already had kind of the lows across here. So this one was worth riding, and notice we broke out, but we hadn't come back and retested. So this one was worth trying to ride back up here and retest this area, and we did, and then it kind of went in the chop. And by this time, it's 2 o'clock. There was actually, and there's not really even a good entry here because look, they're all dojis. It worked out because this is where we were headed, and if you saw that and took it for that reason, you were probably okay. I don't like entering above those dojis like that because a lot of times it'll snap back, and you see it actually broke up here and it did kind of snap back before it went on higher. But the market, they were bound and determined to take it up here and hit this trend line, and that's where we went. And so all the money should have been made early today. I would have been done real early today, except that I kept my runner running down through here for so long. But even got a chance to take a couple of trades on the way out of here as well, and runners were good on them too. So hopefully you had a good day today. When you see a trend like this, I mean, look at that trend from the bigger picture. And there's a couple of things I probably didn't show you today too. Let me show you this. There's leg one. So now, and you got two-legged correction in there. So now you got to be thinking, where's my target down here? And you can see we didn't get anywhere near that target, but we couldn't get below this trend line. We actually got a good bit below it, but that should have been a sign when we couldn't get down here. That tells you the market's, even though it's bad week, it's stronger than, it's not strong enough to the downside to make the target. So it's going to mean you're going to really rock it out of there to the upside, and that's kind of what happened. And can see and again, the trend looks just the same going up. It's slow and methodical and a lot of overlapping bars, and there's just not a lot of really good entries in there. This was the first one that came back and touched the trend line. Then you had a double bottom that tested that trend line twice and turned up, and then you had a break here with a failed break below these double bottom here, so you got a trap, and then you just got another double bottom with a big bullish reversal bar. So different reasons to enter there, but it was a really good day. And it's very rare you're going to see a 45-point move from the highs to the lows, and we pretty much had that today. And you got to take advantage of those when you get them. So but I'm going to wrap it up. This is Mac with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and we'll see you next.